Blog Talk Radio.
Here on September 30th, 2015. You know, if you listen to this show on a regular basis, you'll realize that one of the most disgusting terms to ever come along in business jargon is servant leader. Servant leader. It tries to make it seem that the boss is suffering for you, even though it's obvious to any idiot that she's only helping you because you're gonna make money for her. Her self-seeking behavior is portrayed with this little tag as a kind of self-abnegation, self-denial, right? And that's the opposite of the truth, and I don't like it. But now I notice that another term has become popular, and that's just plain leader. Leader. Nobody's a manager anymore. Everybody is a leader, you know? And I think people like it because it makes them sound kind of heroic. It reminds me of another jargon term, visionary. Visionary. That's another vanity title that lots of people seem to feel comfortable applying to themselves in public. In public, not just in front of a mirror. Okay, everybody's got a fantasy, right? But who would imagine that people have the nerve to tell everybody that they're visionaries? But they do. You know it's true. And whenever I see somebody call herself a leader, I imagine her admiring herself in front of a mirror. I'm not an ordinary person. I'm a leader. That's what I think she's thinking. That's what I think, okay? Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. But what does leader really mean, eh? You wonder? Some people want to say that it's the opposite of a boss, but it's really a boss. A boss is what a leader is, but a boss, okay, a decent guy. That's it. It's not the opposite. A boss, they like to say, is, well, let me put it my way. A boss is in charge of what you do, and a leader is in charge of what you do. But a boss isn't very nice, according to these people, and a leader is. A boss is self-centered and pushy, and he'll take credit for your work, but a leader, no. A leader wouldn't do that. He treats you with respect, and he coaches you. You know why? Because he wants you to like him, so you'll want to do what he tells you to do. You don't have to be pushed. You like him so much, you're like a puppy. But in real life, let me tell you, not every leader is a nice guy. Everyone says that Steve Jobs was a leader, but not many people say he was a nice guy. And Jeff Bezos, he's a leader, but is he a nice guy? That's not what he's famous for. Lenin was a leader. Mao was a leader. You see where I'm going? A leader is a person who gets other people to do the work she wants done. And that's all it is. So when you see someone who calls herself a talent acquisition leader instead of a recruiting manager, just say to her, you mean like Castro? And see how she likes that. Okay? And now, Jerry, everybody knows that you're a leader, a real leader. So can you tell us, what show is this?
The Recruiting Animal Show!
Jerry? Now, Jerry.
Can you hear me all right? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Thank you. Now,
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Now, I don't think that you're going to like today's show because it's going to be kind of a webinar about inbound marketing. So, you know, that's for corporate. Okay? So if you have Yeah, if you have to cut the grass or go get a snack or cook your lunch or talk to your lovely wife, today is a good day for you to do that, okay?
Actually, I'm putting up 48 sheets of pegboard in my pole barn.
Oh, well, great. That's
So
just the perfect day to do it.
I might cut out a bit early, but I want to say hey to Matty Matt, see what's going on.
Matty Matt, are you there? Matt Charney.
Hey, how are you? Hey, Jerry.
Okay.
Hey, man.
Matt Charney, I want you to stay enthusiastic like that. I mean, don't equivocate about everything. I know a lot of people in my audience don't know what equivocate means, but you know, if you believe something, if I ask you for a question, Matt, if I ask you a question, just give me a straight answer. Don't say, maybe this, maybe that. I don't want to hear that from you. You did it last time you were on, okay? And I didn't like it.
All right. No equivocation, period.
Okay, good. Now, you didn't manage to get a landline, but I can hear you, and I hope I can continue to hear you for the rest of the show, okay?
Is he on a speakerphone? Is he on a speakerphone?
I'm on the world's shittiest headset, actually. So
he got it special for the show. He does everything he can do to wreck the show. He was on in August, and he stunk because nobody could hear him, so I brought him back. Now he's telling you he's got a lousy headset. The guy never learns, or he's just sabotaging me, which is a possibility, okay? So Matt, before we get going, that introduction I gave to you that, you know, a lot of people are going to hate this show, it's not for them. Is this inbound marketing? Is it for third-party recruiters too, or is it just for corporate recruiters?
I actually think it is better suited for third-party recruiters, if not more underutilized, because if the goal is to get at candidates largely faster than employers, then more or less you can reverse engineer what organizations are getting wrong to actually get the candidates before they do.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, I'm going to cut you short a lot because, you know, I like the way you talk on Twitter, but I don't like the way you talk in real life. On Twitter, you're very much to the point, you're very aggressive, you're very clear. Here, you're a bit verbose, and I already said you're not clear. So let me just ask you a question. If people like Jerry are going out to find we're headhunters. We're looking for specific people. We don't want every hamburger maker to apply for sophisticated jobs they're not qualified for. So why would we try to attract people online rather than just go out and get them ourselves?
Because they're looking for jobs starting with Google for the most part. So it's a way to scale one-on-one interactions.
Yeah, I don't know what you said. You know what? Let's not skip the introduction. Before we get going, sorry, I'll introduce you in a second. I want to tell everybody there's a new feature on my Facebook group for recruiters. You can access it by recruitingtricks.com, recruitingtricks.com, and we have studied for years, Jerry and I, the Facebook requests for prayers, and they are endless and continuous, so I'm assuming that they work. So if you have a deal that you're not sure of, or it seems to be,
I like where you're going with this.
Yeah,
I like where you're going.
Thank you, Jer. It seems to be going south, and you need help. I got to tell you, just post a request for prayers on recruitingtricks.com. We are so sympathetic, we'll do it. Or you know what? If you get in touch with me just before the show, if it's a Wednesday, call me Wednesday morning. Post something on Twitter or the Facebook group. We'll do a request for prayers right here on the show before we get going. Won't we, Jer?
Only if no other priority prayer requests have come through, like for somebody's puppy or for safe traveling to vacation spots. Those take precedence.
I hadn't even considered those for us, okay? Maddie.
Yeah.
Okay, but thanks for adding that. I don't know. Puppies, maybe. Okay, now back to Matt, the guest star of the show. Matt, you want to tell us who you are before I start quizzing you about inbound marketing, which is the topic of today's show?
Yeah, my name is Matt Charney. I am the executive editor of Recruiting Daily, which means that I get to write a lot of content, stay on top of industry trends, and tweet a lot. So basically, just bringing the snark and trying to pretend I know what I'm doing.
Okay, Matt is the best tweeter, conference tweeter, especially in the recruiting world, in the recruiter sphere. I've watched him many times. He's good. Okay, but he doesn't bring that to this show, and I think it's deliberate. So I see the guy saying funny things, cutting people up. He doesn't bring it here. I'm telling you again, I'm sorry to beat it to death. You better bring it now. Now, I didn't get a song for today. Did you get one, Maddie?
No, I don't have a song for today.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Okay, no song.
No, that's to our benefit. The songs typically flow.
Okay. So you know what? Here's something that you and Jerry, before I talk about inbound marketing, I saw you and Jerry having a discussion on Facebook. You said in one of your postings for the Glassdoor Summit, Matt, you said that delivering bad news is the best way to build trust. Were you just repeating what somebody else said, like reporting it, or do you actually believe that delivering bad news is the best way to build trust?
That was for the purposes of Twitter, but I do believe that self-deprecation is the best way to build trust. Absolutely.
How can a recruiter who's trying to sell a guy a job, how could he or she be self-deprecating in a productive way? Look, I know I'm a nuisance, buddy, but I think it's worth listening to me anyway. You don't have to like me. Is that what you should do when you get on the phone?
In my experience, what I've done is as simple as, hey, I know you've probably heard some stuff about working here, about about how hard it is, et cetera, that it's all true, but I want to try to prove it otherwise. Basically, it's a chance to anticipate anything that they'd find online and answer it up front. So if you acknowledge what they're going to find out anyway, that generally tends to build trust when it comes from you.
So in other words, you're saying, I've heard, I know you've read that this is an awful company here at Amazon, but we're really great for the right people. That's what you're saying. Is that right?
Correct. It's not for everyone, but I want to tell you why it's for you.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like self-deprecation. Maybe that's why you spelled it improperly, because you don't know what it is. Self-deprecation is when you express modest. Yeah. Self-deprecation is when you express a modest opinion about yourself. You acknowledge your limitations. Okay, lots of people think I'm an idiot. Maybe I am. Okay, you have to add that. You don't say lots of people think I'm an idiot, but I'm not really. That's not self-deprecation. That's boasting. That's defending yourself. You got to say, maybe I am an idiot, but you know what? This is a good job anyway, so just listen to me for a couple of minutes. Please, please, please. Okay, that's self-deprecation. Now, Jerry,
right.
What do you? Okay,
Michael. If you're calling in from Robert Half, you have to go ahead and say up front that you're not an idiot or a standard recruiter. It's more likely you're going to get hung up on.
Okay. Now, Jerry says recruiters don't need to build trust. He says, this is exact his words. How often do agency recruiters need all this trust? Just what do we need them to trust us about? That we're going to give them the right address to the interview?
Man, that's good stuff right there.
That's you, Jerry. You want to elaborate on that?
Oh, what? No. I think it speaks for itself. What's this whole big trust thing all about? We're not here to set up trusting relationships all over the world. We're here to get people qualified, interested, and on some interviews. Skip the trust factor.
But you're not getting
I'm not asking them to trust me with their retirement savings. I'm not babysitting their kids. I'm not walking their grandma across the street.
Well, you're representing them on the market. And if I don't trust you to represent me on the market and submit my resume to companies that have a little bit of discretion, if I don't think that you're going to be able to get the best deal for me, then forget you. I'll do it myself.
How often does that happen?
It happens a lot. I do it several times a day to people who call me because I'm like, you are not submitting a resume to the company.
Okay, you guys are boring me. Okay, it's obvious the guy's got to trust to some extent, but maybe Jerry's got a point. Okay, Let me see. I think Alejandro's complaining that I'm off topic, but I just wanted some. Okay, but here's something. Okay, what did I say? Okay, the logic of recruitment marketing. This is from Matt Charney. Recruiting becomes
Didn't
really.
Didn't that move to the UK?
I think recruitment marketing is an American term as well.
Come on, I'm sick of that.
Okay,
recruiting
marketing. Recruiting marketing. Okay. Okay. Matt Charney says, let me get it out, okay? Matt Charney says that recruiting becomes really easy. That's his term, a non-recruiter. Recruiting becomes really easy when candidates find you first. And that's what inbound marketing is all about. Am I right, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. It's them coming to you as opposed to you going out and talking to them. It's inbound versus outbound sales. Seriously.
So was this just an offhand remark? You said the competition for top talent is becoming increasingly cutthroat. Now, cutthroat is different from hard. Why did you say cutthroat?
Because there is such a lack of talent in a lot of positions that are going out, particularly in search, where they're, companies will beg, borrow, steal, plead, and do whatever it takes to make a hire. Period. Even if that involves some duplicity or some worse practice.
Do you have 3 examples to prove that? I don't think recruiting is cutthroat. Does anybody else on the line agree with him that recruiting is cutthroat? Anybody? There's a lot of people here.
No, I don't agree.
Well, that's Jerry. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to comment before we move on? I don't agree either, Jerry.
No.
What's he talking about?
Who
It's
knows?
nonsense.
I'm sorry to say this, and please pardon me if it seems a bit rude. When you're responsible for a lot of blogs and media, you just have to keep coming up with stuff to say. And I think Matt is getting caught in that trap of just having to just say profound things all the time, and after a while you run out of stuff that really have any significance at all. He's caught up in his own trap of it, and I'm sorry. I feel bad.
My frustration actually comes from the fact that I had nothing profound to say, and we continually are having the same conversation we've been having since I started in this industry, which is basically how the hell do you sell jobs and put butts in seats?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what the question is. How do you get on a good phone? You're much better than last time, but you're still warbling in and out. Okay, okay, yeah. I'm just telling you. Okay, now I'll just move on. Everybody wants to know about inbound marketing. You say that passive candidates are the goal, but they're almost everybody, since 85% of the workforce says that they're passive candidates, right?
Yeah, I actually think it's an oxymoron to say, because if they're a candidate, they're not actually
you're
passive.
Wrong. You're wrong. It's someone who's curious but isn't actively looking. It makes perfect sense. Okay, so
we would call that pre-contemplation. So there you go. Yes, that's the buying stage.
Okay. Now you also say people who know your company in advance are more likely to apply. So the candidates you should be thinking of are people from any of your customers, your business partners, your vendors, your competitors, alumni, and past applicants. That doesn't make much sense to me. Do you really want to recruit from the people who are supplying you or you're doing business with, your partners?
Not within the bounds of a contract, but I absolutely think that targeting a competitor I
didn't say competitor. Competitor's obvious, okay? What about your business partners? Targeting them? How do you target anyway? Is that significant? Are you doing anything special to attract the people who already know you as opposed from those who don't? Or is it just an observation?
No, I think that you absolutely are, because people know your brand as a consumer. They might have expectations that are different from an employer brand. Disney, I'll go back to that example. The consumer brand is the happiest place on earth. And if you're an employee, it may be the most miserable place on earth. So I think that, obviously there's that matter of distinguishing.
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying. I got to save the show. We're going down a little, okay?
Save the show.
Yeah. Okay. So candidates reporting a positive experience with an employer are 83% more likely to become customers than those who had a neutral one. This is the issue. Well, maybe we should leave that till. That's really not an inbound marketing thing. Okay.
Yeah, it is because it's...
No, wait a sec. You said inbound marketing is the future of recruiting. The recruiting function of the future looks nearly identical to marketing today. By adopting marketing's competencies, you'll see an improvement immediately and bigger results long-term for building an engaged pipeline of qualified leads. So what do you mean when you say that inbound marketing is the future of recruiting?
Well, I think inbound marketing is actually the present of recruiting, because if you have referrals, which are word of mouth, and you have job ads, which are content marketing as being the two largest external sources of hire, and then you have internal mobility and promotion being, the largest source of hire within an organization, period, then you're talking about both customer acquisition and retention. So I think that if you're putting a job ad out there and expecting people to apply, to sort through and qualify those, that's inbound marketing. It's taking a funnel, opening it up, and then qualifying through various stages to help drive or influence a purchasing decision.
Yeah, okay. You know what? Martin Hawk says, I wonder what the animal show would be like if 25% of it wasn't spent treating guests like a punching bag. You know what it would be like? It would be like every other show. And that's not what you want. You want to have a show that takes a critical, debates with the person, not just sits there like a lapdog for the guest while they, give you their usual lines, or as I like to say, mumbo jumbo. Martin Hawk, that's what it's all about, okay? You can complain all you want. Go ahead,
right,
Matt.
So here's my business case for you, Michael, right now, is that right now companies are spending $85 billion a year on recruiting, period. They're spending and these are from Burson, $8.9 billion a year on recruiting advertising and candidate acquisition. So if you're spending 3.2% of total corporate revenues on acquiring candidates online, which is what it was in 2014, then that to me would indicate that needs to be the future of recruiting, because if you're not able to deliver ROI on 3.2% of total spend for an organization, then you're not long for this world.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what you said. There's 5 stages of inbound marketing, okay? Number 1, attraction. That's sourcing, right?
Absolutely.
Then there's nurturing. That's relationship building, right?
Candidate engagement and or screening. Yeah.
Screening is included in step 2. Is that right? You've already got it as number 3. You've got it as number 3. I read your book. Okay? I read your book. Look, the guy needs to be bullied a little.
Anything pre-point of apply. I'm talking about an automated screening tool, not a phone
I'll just
screen.
read it off. I was looking for your approval. Number 1 is attract. Number 2 is nurture. Number 3 is convert. Number 4 is close. And number 5 is delight. Okay? I don't know what that means. But anyway, so those are the 5 stages. What does delight mean? What does delight mean?
Your employees happy and productive. So your employees aren't looking for a new job and they don't think they were sold a bill of goods while being recruited.
Okay, so delight comes after they're in the job, right?
Correct. That's a retention outcome.
Okay, so the first step is what you call candidate segmentation. You have to define your target before you begin, right? And
absolutely, that's the job title.
Yeah, you're going in and out. A segment is the segment of the market that you're after, okay? Each segment requires a drastically different approach. The things to consider are location, gender, diversity status, income. Do you have an example for us, or should I just move on?
So the example that I'm going to use is any time that you look at either Twitter, Facebook, Google, all of those break down their ad buying when you're purchasing ads by those same fields. So knowing the answer of where you're looking, the same information on a job description is the same information, whether that's years of experience, so you can correlate that with age, location, professional interests, or affinities. You can very highly target by the same qualifications. So I would just use the fields that those paid advertisers use in order to start putting together and defining those fields. Absolutely.
Okay, whatever that meant, okay? And then you also have to segment based on the stage of the hiring process. The segment, what does that mean?
It means that you're going to be having a very different communication style and engagement or sharing different content with somebody who's thinking about applying to your company to somebody who's thinking about taking an offer. Right, so you have to break it down by where they are in the process, not just what type of candidate.
Okay, I think last time you were here, you told us that when you plan your content for your content marketing, you're sending out different stuff all through the hiring process. You're thinking right from start to finish, and so that's what you're referring to now. And you're saying it takes 8 unique touch points to influence a purchasing decision. What does that mean?
It means that a candidate or consumer has to have at least 8 different individual interactions with a brand. So that could be everything from seeing a display ad to getting a referral from somebody who they know who works at the company. 8 different touch points in order to convince them to either apply or take a job, depending on where they're at in the process. So to drive a decision, you basically need to have 8 different impressions across different platforms and channels in order to actually sway it one way or the other.
Anybody want to ask Matt a question? There's a lot of people. They're complaining endlessly about why am I yelling? Why am I criticizing Matt?
Here's my question.
Go ahead, Alejandro. I want to introduce you. Alejandro. TRG Alejandro on Twitter. The great Alejandro. The great!
Thanks. I appreciate it. So, Matt, you said that it's even more important for third-party recruiters to master the inbound recruitment or, recruitment marketing than internal. My question is so many times you've got third-party recruiters who don't really have an inside track in the company, understanding the culture of the teams, understanding the overall culture, understanding what's going on day-to-day operationally. They don't have the picture of that. So how can they exploit that with those impressions that you're talking about right now?
Well, so for instance, a lot of, I would say, third-party recruiters might not have the very expensive LinkedIn enterprise access that their internal counterparts have. But at the same time, they do have access to LinkedIn's marketing solutions. So rather than, for example, paying so I can individually search and filter and communicate with a huge swath of candidates on there and get that, all I need to do is to create what LinkedIn calls a minimally viable group for an advertising campaign, which, by the way, only has to include 7 people. So 7 people have to meet your criteria on that campaign. So you can basically target, individual names, companies, titles, locations, and for $4 or $5, be more effective in terms of converting people into actual candidates in your database using their advertising platform than using their recruiting platform. That's just one example.
Alejandro, do you understand what he said?
I understand what he said. I don't think it answers the question that I asked, but I understand what he said.
Why not? Everybody wants to hear from Matt. I interrupt people when I think they're getting boring. But here I'm hearing on Twitter, if only he'd let the guest answer a question. Go ahead. I let him answer. If you're not satisfied, challenge him again.
Well,
yep. Go ahead, Alejandro.
Hold on. And Matt, I got to tell you something. Maybe you got ADD, but if you're trying to be good on this show, don't read Twitter at the same time and answer those Twitter postings, okay? Go ahead,
Okay, so the point I was trying to make is if you're on the outside looking in as a third party and you really don't know what's going on, I don't see how
animal.
He's
a recruiter, but he's on the outside.
I don't see how you can create that compelling content to create those impressions that you're talking about. So I don't see how that could be a matter of import for third-party recruiters. That's why I asked you how does that, it's incongruent. It doesn't match up what you're saying and what my experience has been and what I see in the world of recruiting.
Well, so I guess this will depend on third-party recruiter, but very simply, if you're competing with a direct client, so I'm knocking retained search out of this, right, when you have the search, very different. But if you are looking at the ways that employers are developing candidates, if your goal is to get there first, by buying the right keywords, by using SEO, because Google's algorithm actually ranks ATS content as spam, most of the time due to duplicate titles. If you're able to reverse engineer what those organizations are doing to open their funnel, which is, pretty shitty actually. It's a generic job description. It's aphoristic, naive culture content and job alerts. If you're able to beat that by, let's say, curating content about your industry, whether it's you're writing posts or in some way giving some insight into career advice, resume advice, anything that can be scaled that positions you as a career expert or an industry expert, that's the exact same content, but better you than the 23-year-old communications.
Okay, I have a question. I have a question now. First of all, I have to defend myself. The guy came on 2 months ago. Nobody could hear a word he said. I had to go through the whole show and increase the volume in the recording of every word the guy uttered so we could hear it in the recording. Okay, this time I'm trying to listen to him, understand, reply to Alejandro, and I'm straining with the warbling because he didn't make sure that he called in on a decent line. I have to criticize him. Don't tell me I don't. I'm doing it for you, everybody. Now, my second point with what Alejandro was saying, now I understand.
Hi, Maureen.
Hey, hi.
Thanks, Maureen. Okay, I got it. If you're recruiting software developers or whatever, Jerry, it's the same person, the same kind of person.
On what he's saying.
The same kind of person you're recruiting all the time, then you can do inbound. You can do inbound market. If you would stop interrupting me, I can figure out what I'm saying. Okay. You can have it if you're recruiting the same kind of person.
This show's going nowhere. It's 12:30, and it's dead.
Wait a second.
It's over.
I got a good question for Matt. I finally got it.
It's time for the after show.
Just wait a sec. I'm picking up on what Alejandro
There's some pretty neat stuff going on over on Facebook.
Matt,
are you over there right now, Maureen?
Matt, say yes.
Pay attention.
Okay, Matt.
Michael.
Okay.
Look here.
If you're recruiting, you're like Jerry. He places software developers on contract, okay? So he's recruiting the same kind of people, generally speaking, all the time. If he had an inbound marketing landing page, that would be useful to him because it would populate his database with people. Not necessarily good ones, but at least he'd have people he could screen. Yes or no?
It would be like a garden.
Yeah, yes or no? Matt, yes or no?
Yeah.
Matt. Yeah, okay. The thing is, how are people going to find him? You mentioned SEO a few minutes ago. Are you saying you should also use sponsored search on Google by buying certain keywords? Because those are going to be expensive.
Software contractor jobs. The first paid result is Dice.com. First organic result is Indeed. Third is Flex Jobs. Fourth is LinkedIn. Fifth is Solo Gig. The reason why those rank there is because they are paying money and putting an emphasis on getting that keyword traffic. And so obviously it has value to try to get employers to subscribe to a candidate, which is essentially the point.
How is a guy like Jerry going to his landing page? How is it going to compete with those guys like Dice, like LinkedIn that you just mentioned?
It's not. Which is why I don't even do it.
Per impression on those search forms than Dice does. That's a moving target, but either way, when you're talking about 25%, you'll make that margin back.
So it'll pay for itself.
Yeah. I don't
think one placement will cover it?
One placement will cover either like a premium LinkedIn or Glassdoor sponsorship for the most part, right? But either way, if you are continually placing them and you own those keywords, their entire business model is margin as a arbitrage of what these job-related keywords are, right? So if you can just beat that at your specific.
He's fading out. Your guest has gone off the ranch, dude. He said something arbitrage, and I'm like, what?
And everybody's yelling at me. Okay, here's a guy. He didn't learn his lesson from last time.
Yeah, I can't hear shit. Sorry.
There you go, Michael Cox. I mean, he'd rather criticize me than you, Maddie. Okay, let's talk about ourselves.
That is more fun.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the fact that you require a landline for primary audio quality should tell you a little bit about how anachronistic this here thing is.
Blame everybody else. I'm on.
Hold on.
You Luddite animal, you.
Anachh.
Yeah, I need that thesaurus.
Anachronistic is from the Greek word ana, against.
No. Here's another.
Zopov, meaning time. Anachronistic is kind of a waste of time.
Save that for the after show, Jerry. Okay. Matt said most of the recruiting process happens before we know it. According to the conference board, I don't know what that is, 60% of the online recruiting process happens before candidates ever contact an employer directly. So I guess that's the research they're doing.
Matt, do you think people are looking for companies when they're looking for a new job, or are they looking for a new job? In other words, are we looking for Google? Are we looking to work at LinkedIn? Are we looking for jobs that match what we want to be doing?
Both, honestly, but let's take even phone or phone sourcing. If I leave a voicemail, say I'm this person with this company, first thing a candidate's going to do is go to Google and look up either that company or that recruiter. Those results are going to determine whether or not you get a call back. And that's just the way computer technology works. So it affects every part of their recruitment.
So does it help then if you're a hot chick?
Yeah.
Of course it does.
You know what? I got to tell you something. When we were talking about these career landing pages, Matt gave me the example of Lyft, Lyft.com. Lyft.com. They have a beautiful girl filling up half the screen of their career page. It made me feel good just looking at it.
Hold on.
Yeah,
what does it mean?
Lyft. Lyft. It's right on the Blog Talk Radio page for this show.
On their careers page?
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Okay, in my opinion. Lyft on their career page.
You always get lost in the details, animal.
How do you? I don't see. There's careers page.
It's on the Blog Talk Radio page for this show. Okay, so it's not hard to find. Just go to this show and you'll see it. It's hyperlinked.
Oh, they call it jobs.
Whatever it is, okay. But anyway,
which is great. I'm tired of job pages being called careers. That's bugged me for a long time.
Yeah, but
looking for a career. I already have a career. I just want a job.
I don't understand how people are getting to your landing page. He hasn't really explained that. You're buying keywords in competition with companies like LinkedIn and Dice. That's impossible to compete with them. I don't understand what he's talking about here.
Michael, is recruiting for drivers on your Blog Talk Radio page. So I think that there are a lot of different options.
Hey, Maureen, can you hear him?
Yeah, nobody can understand what you're saying, Matt. That's why I'm talking, okay? Okay. Now, what about job postings? You say job postings are a prime form of content that are going to be used to present to people. They're a prime, and the thing is, most people, do them very poorly. And you don't like bullet lists. Why not? I think a bullet list is terrific. You can read them very quickly. Does anybody agree with me before he gets to rebut me? Okay?
I like bullet lists.
Yeah, on a job description, why not? Anybody else? Michael Cox. Bullet lists, or did you leave already? Bullet lists. Bullet lists.
What about them?
on a job description. Great. Are they bad or good?
I use them. It's I don't know if it's bad, but it gets to the point.
Matt says it's bad.
Oh shit!
What?
It gets to the bullet point even.
Yeah, it does. Okay, Matt.
Is that you, Travis?
Matt, maybe we can hear you.
There's a reason everyone does it.
You want to address this?
At lunch today, Travis.
And I'm going to. Matt said,
"You look sharp too."
Thanks.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so bullet points are fine for breaking up text. The thing is that candidates read job descriptions like recruiters read resumes, and I promise that bullet points is not the first thing that you look at when you read a resume. You're looking at the candidate, location. So are they going to be open for relo? Can they make the commute? You're looking at the current company.
Yeah. Should I stop talking?
What if I change the font and I make it really large?
Big font. Ooh.
You know what? Okay. I just got to tell you. Here's Mark Sullivan. Mark Sullivan says, I know Matt Charney has great responses to animals' questions, but his phone is cutting in and out, and he's hard to hear. Okay?
It's distracting.
It's not just distracting. It's more than that.
It's anachronistic. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I hate to bring out the big words on you, but it's anachronistic, and I'm about
to. Okay. Anyway.
How about for the rest of the show, then, you ask a question, and we will each take turns answering as if we were Matt Charney.
That's what I was suggesting. Now,
there you go.
There's a big thing
Ask
we didn't
him
talk
if he
about.
minds.
Okay, we can't hear him anyway. It doesn't matter. So listen, one of the biggest deals, and at the Glassdoor Summit, they talked about it a lot, or at SourceCon they talked about it. Allison Cruz, she was very successful talking about persona creation. Now, persona is a profile of the targeted candidate, and Matt says a persona has three parts: the person's
targeted profile,
their demographics, but I don't know if he's right about that. I can't ask him about it. So does anybody create a persona before they go out sourcing? Maureen, you must create personae.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
How do you draw up a picture of the profile that you're after?
Well, the customer does that. They tell us like a hiring manager tells us what they want in a person.
Okay. Yeah. I guess, I don't understand this landing page. Some of them look good with pretty girls on them, and some of them don't. And
so
then
that's
they have
what a persona is? Is that just a new buzzword now for in our space, persona?
Apparently, it's an old marketing term that they've imported into sourcing, so they have something to talk about at
the
Okay. So it's a new thing.
I love the UK stuff. I just love it. Nobody's making any placements over there, but they sure have some good words for it.
They got some buzzwords. Okay.
Okay. You got to have.
I couldn't figure that one out. I couldn't figure
Maureen?
that one out. Now I know. Okay.
Okay. Also, on your landing page, you have to have a call to action. Does everybody know what that is?
Yes.
Well, tell us.
It's
buy now.
Yeah, buy now. Click here.
It's a button that says buy now, or it says learn more, or get started now, or call me. Yeah,
or go to our crappy ATS now. Prepare yourself for 30 minutes of crap here. Click.
Okay, what should I do?
I think call me is the best call to action you can put out there, don't you?
So do the call me with the buxom blonde picture beside there.
There you go, Marguerite. Call me.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can work that in, Jerry.
I'm Susie.
I can make that happen for you.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm Susie. Call me. Is that right? Instead of fly me. Remember that, Maureen? Hey,
fly me.
How about just the ladies from Korean Air?
Can we sing "Fly Me to the Moon" right now?
Have you seen the Korean Air ads?
No.
It's a flying whorehouse. It's great.
Fly me to the moon.
Have you seen? You know what I'm talking? Has anybody seen these commercials?
No, I haven't.
They are.
Korean Air. Come on.
Okay, look. Hold on. Listen. Okay. Okay. Look.
I'm so glad I don't have to work anymore.
That's the best. You're the best today.
Hold on. Wait a second. Matt, we'll try Matt once more. If not, we'll go to the after show right
now.
Final
shot for Matt. Go.
Matt, are you still with us? Matt, are you still there?
I am.
Okay. Matt, we're having a hard time, but you talk for a few minutes.
Shut the vacuum cleaner off, dude.
Matt, there's 15 minutes. If you think you could teach recruiters the most important things they should know about inbound marketing in 15 minutes, I won't interrupt you at all, because nobody, maybe will understand you if I don't say anything. Go ahead.
Don't be quiet.
Go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's better.
Okay. Much better.
I will talk as slowly and as clearly as possible, which I'm bad at. So what I would like recruiters to know is that candidates and consumers start their search for any information in the exact same place. That's Google. Right now they have around 90% of the search market volume in the world. So that means that when people are looking for information about where to go to eat, what the hours are for a gym or where to work, they're starting in the exact same destination, which means you have to think like a consumer marketer, because the departure point for a candidate's journey is the exact same place as if I were buying a pizza, a house, or a TV, right? So in order to do that, what you have to do is to make that process as simple as possible. Rather than try to make candidates, let's say, fill out a very long, very non-user-friendly application through an applicant tracking system that takes an hour to do, at least the amount of information possible in order to qualify whether or not they are going to be worth following up to. The easiest way to do that is by only getting the information up front and whatever the hell I'm saying that's so anymore, I'm happy that I entertained someone.
That was good. Okay. There's another a website. Did you have a chance to look at Pega, that landing page?
I did.
And what did you think of it? Because she's listening, the girl who gave it to me, very nice person. Let me just tell everybody her name, okay? It's Pauline _PEGA, okay? Let's take a look at her landing page and see what Matt thinks about it.
Okay, where are we going?
We're going to Pega. Everything is on the it's on the Blog Talk Radio page.
Nobody goes to your stupid Blog Talk Radio page, man.
Okay, it's pega.com/careers.
Okay. So I'm sorry for the tone of my voice there a second ago.
Oh yeah.
We all love your landing page. Keep up the good work. Spend more time on it.
Okay, Matt, what do you think of her page?
I think that if I'm a job seeker, I'm seeing a guy with a hashtag branded t-shirt, so I know it's not a culture fit. But more importantly, I only want to do one thing when I come to this website, and that's search for and apply for jobs. I really don't care about war on a mission. So I think that anything that's goal here, it just needs to be a search bar so I can search for jobs, or click apply, or express interest in learning more, and then have a recruiter contact me. That's all I need. I don't need.
Matt, you said visuals. This would have been, going through these pages would have been great if we could hear you. But you said that visuals are very important, didn't you? Or did I mistake it? Am I confusing with somebody else? Because you just said, in case anybody didn't hear, this web page has a big banner, and there's 4 people from the company on it, and in the center is a guy whose back is to us, a man with a big, broad shoulders, and it says Life at Pega as their hashtag. And Matt said as soon as he sees that, he knows it's not a culture fit, and he's out of there. Why is that, Matt? I don't understand.
I guess actually 3 reasons. One, so I'm looking at people's backs. Like, you want to have faces. That's what creates affinity. So psychologically, this is the worst choice you could make. But I'm also hearing that, 1, you're going to have to use this hashtag and wear cheesy T-shirts. And 2, you're going to have to come in the office and go through a bunch of meetings on whiteboards that look miserable. So
wait a minute. Hold on. They do have one, at least that we know, diversity and inclusion candidate working there. So that means that there's various people. But most importantly about Pega.com, they are transforming. Okay, now dig this. Hold on. Are you guys sitting down? This place here, this guy at this ping pong table, is transforming how the world does business.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's a new one.
And people.
I'm surprised that these guys are the first guys that wanted their. Great idea.
Transform the world
while playing ping pong.
Yeah. Everybody's transforming. In other words, you're saying, Jerry, that they shouldn't use hackneyed ideas like.
I'm saying that's ridiculous.
Mm.
Yeah, they're probably a regular company that needs to hire some people.
Yeah.
Why don't you advertise what you really do? Hey, we'll pay you more than most companies in town, or you can call in sick a couple days a month and we won't hassle you. Or sometimes we all just stay out for lunch and get shit-faced. I mean, let's talk about what's real here. Not you're transforming how the world does business. It's ridiculous.
But I think that's Matt's point.
That's the point of the performance. If you're targeting people who are going to be financially motivated, of course you lead with that. If you're going to be targeting idiots who actually think that our people are the real power behind their success, then, this works for the BCD, right? So that's why you have to figure that out and then build a copy around what they want.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, here's another one.
They only hire the best.
Here's another one.
From all walks of life, though.
Except web designers, Jerry. That we have evidence they do not.
Here's another one.
I could do a web page like this.
Okay, here's another one from a friend of mine at on Twitter. It's DataSift /careers. DataSift.com. DataSift.com /careers. What do you think of that?
Bob is awesome. So I've seen this page at one point. Well, I like it. I like this one for two reasons. One, above the fold, I can see the current openings. It's not a bunch of fluff. Help us create tomorrow's big data platform. Good enough. This basically reads like a movie poster. In an instant, I know what the company is kind of about visually. Again, visual is important, but conceptually. All I want to do is turn open. I press the button, done. I go to the job. I can sign up for notifications, and I can submit directly for open roles. That's all I want to do when I visit that person. Then after the fact, when you call me back, that's when I'm going to go back and check out all those filter statements.
So, Matt, what you're saying is the opposite of what I would have imagined. You're saying that when you go to the landing page, the only thing you want to look at is get access to the job descriptions. You don't want to read any marketing communications on the site that's going to entice you or delight you or anything like that. Is that what you're saying? It's really get me to the jobs, which is what Jerry was kind of saying as well. Is that what you're saying, Matt?
Absolutely. The best recruiter in the world can't convert a candidate who they don't know who they are. So the whole point is to get as much information about the candidates as quickly as possible, not to, wow them with your employer brand.
Okay, employer branding and landing pages, you're saying, are two different purposes. Is that what you're saying, Clear? It sounds like it to me, and you were scolding me about that before the show as well.
Where they're at in the process. So yes, employer brand matters for inbound if you're developing the candidate. If they're already talking to the company, considering an offer, then obviously you have to have some of this in there. But yeah, as far as this goes, the entire point of employer branding is secondary to what I think the real goal is to get as many qualified leads.
Is anybody surprised to hear him say that this whole employer branding stuff is kind of irrelevant? They just want to know about the job. They don't want to see you dancing around.
Well, hold on a minute.
Pretty pictures.
I've been saying that for 5 years.
Yeah, he has.
I have. And I will quote myself from one of my biggest hit tweets ever. The only employer brand a candidate wants to see is your company name on a check made out to them.
Yeah.
The rest is crap.
I'm stealing that from you. But yeah, no, absolutely.
I'd like to trademark that. Hold on a second.
No, employer brand is a silly way that consultants sell services that are unnecessary. All you need is to have the right candidates to call and develop. That's it. That's inbound marketing.
Okay. What about IBM? Should we look at one more before the show's over?
There is no after show today, by the way. I have to go out and do some stuff.
Okay, so yeah, let's look at one. Okay, this is www-03, this is there, .ibm.com/employment. It's www-03.ibm.com/employment. What do you think of that, Matt? Now, I got to tell you, Jerry and Maureen, wouldn't this have been a good show if we could actually hear the guy and he could review all these things for us?
Could have been in the top 10.
There you go.
Unfortunately, it's in the bottom 10.
Yeah.
Well,
what a difference the phone line can make.
Yeah, and Maureen. There you go, Maureen. There you go. Jerry said it. What a difference the phone line can make.
That's right.
There's a
and for posterity, Matt,
once
what
again,
are you calling
you guys
it on?
can all quote me on that, too.
It's down, Jerry. It is so marked. For posterity, Matt, what are you calling in on?
I'm calling in on my Google Voice line. Because last time I was
Google Voice line.
Yeah. You know, I begged the guy.
Cute.
I begged the guy to use a phone, and he saw last time it didn't work, but he just didn't get it. I don't know why. Okay. That's really
not
bad.
everybody has a landline phone anymore.
You know,
come on, people, stop being so
fools
that they are. Go get something if you're doing a show. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Go to your mother's.
IBM? What about IBM, Matt? What about IBM?
Terrible landing page. Well,
why? I think it's good. I think it's good. There's a fairly pretty girl.
Yes, well, I mean, obviously she could be prettier if that's, the brand you're making. But I don't know where to look for a job here.
It says search all jobs.
Search all jobs and apply.
Where? Yeah. Oh, right there. That's kind of hidden. I mean, the type is small and tiny and the white. I mean, come on. Highlight that little box right there.
You know what, Jerry?
Yeah.
You've got a point if you're on mobile. If you're on mobile, it could be a problem.
Who job searches on mobile?
Matt, can you
answer that? Who says mobile?
Hey, man, we're UK people. Mobile recruitment. That's my specialty.
What do you guys say? Mobile?
Mobile, yeah, mobile.
What's that all about?
Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah.
Who's from Mobile, Alabama?
I have to say, I think this is a nice, clean, easy to read page, but Matt might have a point that it's hard to find the button if you're on a little tiny screen on a phone. Okay, I guess that's.
Well, no, I disagree. I agree with Matt. I disagree with you, Animal.
Who's that? Is that Mark?
Mark Sullivan.
It's Mark Sullivan.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Good. I agree with Matt on this one because when you look at this IBM page, you got search all jobs and apply, or select a country, or entry level / campus, or experienced professional. So which one do I click? If you're coming to this page, they've given you 5 options, 4 or 5 options.
Maybe I'm dumb, but yeah, they just give you duplicate options. You could search either way to make it easy for you. That's what I assume. Okay, Mark Sullivan's here. Okay, so Mark, you're an expert. Okay, so maybe want to do a few more with you before we leave the show?
You got 2 minutes.
Mark, I'm going to comment when needed.
No, right now, I mean, we can't hear Matt that well, so you'll fill in for him if you can't. What about this one?
Okay.
Mito. This is a Hungarian site, but it's in English. It's from Orsolia. I should thank you, Orsolia Lawrence. Okay? She gave it to us today. mito.hu/jobs. Now, jobs should be better than careers. Am I right, Jerry? Because it's easier to type.
Yeah.
And that's what, according to Matt, this is the shocker for the show. You're not interested in the fancy content. You just want access to the jobs.
I like this.
Okay.
I don't want to wait for the Flash to load even. That's
where do you click this?
Yeah.
So
you
Matt,
scroll down and then Android.
Matt didn't like this one because there's no button, right? There's no button.
You scroll down, but the positions is below the fold.
You got to scroll too far.
Uh-huh.
Well, you just got to scroll.
You got to scroll to the job.
I'm lazy.
Down, or you click on jobs in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah. I can't do that at work.
Yeah, that's too small.
Jobs in the upper right-hand corner takes you back to the same page.
So if you see where it says with us create clever things with us in big, bold letters, there should be a big button there that says job. Am I right?
Yeah.
On every site, that should be the most prominent thing.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I learned something. I think it's time to sign off. What does everybody think?
I think in the future we should use the word show shocker as an animal word for bad sound.
No, we call it bad sound. We call it normal sound here. Maureen, we call it normal sound because it happens almost everywhere.
Maureen's line of business is kind of drying up, so she's trying to branch into some profession where you just come up with fun names for stuff.
She's going to be a consultant or subject
a
matter
nomenclature consultant.
How did you all celebrate John Sumser's birthday yesterday?
I don't know. I wish him happy birthday. I think it was 2 days ago, actually.
Was it 2?
Was it Monday?
The whole week is a blur for me when it's his birthday, so I don't really know when the actual. You know what I mean? It's like Mardi Gras, and then you got Sumser's birthday week.
Okay.
So.
Anybody else? Anybody got something they want to talk about before we go? Jerry's not doing after show today.
Yeah, no, I'm busy.
Anybody? Anybody? Okay, Matt. You know what?
Busy.
I don't know why, Matt, but we still like you. Okay.
One day
you'll get a phone that people can hear you on. Okay, and then you'll come back.
Spend some of that hard-earned cash.
Why did he move to Dallas? Does anybody know? To be
here in Texas, baby.
No state income tax, centralized airport, cheap cost of living.
No, wait a minute. Aren't you a Democrat?
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Wait.
Not in Dallas.
Here. I don't like the sound of that. A Democrat trying to get out of paying his fair share? So much so that he'll move to an entirely different state? Come on.
It's excusable. It's Texas.
I like
everything.
Okay, Matt Charney, Jerry Albright, Maureen Sherab, Alejandro, Michael Cox, Mark Sullivan, Travis. What's Travis's last name?
Yeager.
Duke.
Yeager, like Chucky. Travis Yeager, the Duke. Everybody, thank you!